This is the last video for my Code Geass Season 2 retrospective. I'll discuss the plot, characters, schemes, and mechas. Apart from all the dumb stuff I mentioned, the plot is solid. The political moves, the fight scenes, the war tactics, and the epic schemes all still remain. The characters mostly retain the same quality of writing as in Season 1, but the theme on lelouch's side takes a hit, so the application of the plot formula takes a hit as well. Despite the dumb moments, there are still countless great moments that come as a result. I hate the Black Knight's betrayal, but Rollo's final stand was amazing. I hate the Seas World stuff, but lelouch killing his parents was epic. Lelouch showing up as an emperor was phenomenal. The metaphor of Geass being a wish and lelouch granting Geass to everyone was pure poetry. The Zero Requiem was spectacular. I like the ends of the story, I just don't like the means. There are some weaker sections in the plot, specifically the war against the Chinese Federation, and it wasn't good enough to have so much time dedicated to it. The soap opera element has also been reduced, or at least more naturally integrated into the plot. Lelouch's dramatic relationship with Suzaku isn't just icing on the cake anymore, it's actually relevant to the plot and affects the moves he makes. Same with his relationships with Rollo and Nunnally. The Black Knight's betrayal is kind of melodramatic, but it has plot relevance and dramatically shifts the direction of the story. The writing of the side characters improved. Rollo was a great character. His backstory explains why he's a psycho and what motivates him. His brotherhood with lelouch gives him a character arc where he values lelouch a lot. His values are tested in interesting ways. The best ones are where he kills Shirley and when he sacrifices his life to save lelouch. He has a clear purpose, personality, and role in the story. I wasn't fond of him the first time I watched the show, but now I really appreciate him. Shin-Kei was a fleshed out character as well. He had a clear motivation. He had a backstory that explained his goal to show that one girl the world. He had a clearly defined personality and role in the story, but he didn't have an arc. While the story arc focusing on him was a little slow, he was definitely a standout character. You could tell the writers liked him by how much they hyped him up. They gave him the Itachi sickness too. Jeremiah had his backstory fleshed out and had a significant shift in perspective when he decided to work for lelouch. His charisma was enhanced when he became lelouch's soldier, and that combined with his undying loyalty made him one of my favorites this season. C2 had a character arc where she gave up on finding a way to die and decided to join lelouch's plan. Lena had great development. Despite me not liking her, I can't deny her transition from a vengeful scientist to someone who's aware of the destruction weapons are capable of, and finally to someone who understands that the ends justify the means, wasn't great writing. Her working with lelouch and Suzaku to nullify the flare was phenomenal. Valletta completed her character arc when she decided that she actually loved Ogi, and they eventually got married. Now she's no longer racist, although I wish there was more time spent on this plot. It's so fragmented. For example, when she saves him from the ninja maid, the scene cuts and we don't see what happened next. The next time we see either of them, it's all been resolved off screen. You could tell the writers loved her too, by how they forced her to become one of the teachers, so that she could get more screen time. Here is a list of lelouch's great schemes in this season. He stole a nightmare to get enemy locations like in Season 1. He destroyed levels again, this time dropping a tower on his enemies. He controlled the Chinese leader to work within, and created a base for the USJ. He had C2 give a pre-recorded speech as Zero. He controlled a clerk to send a bomb threat to shake his followers. He messed with floors by controlling an insider, like at the end of Season 1. He saved Rollo to continue to manipulate him, but he also controlled the person who shot at Rollo and gave him the command ahead of time. He used Rollo's time stop to tell Nunnally the truth. He had an underwater methane hydrate plan that used science on the battlefield. He exposed a loophole and had everyone dress up as Zero so that they could all be exiled. He broadcasted his private conversation with the eunuchs to expose them. He stopped Jeremiah with a Geass disturber. He threw a bunch of mirrors to attack Charles with Geass first. He made Guilford think that he was Cornelia every time he did a pose. He controlled pilots to protect him on the island. He detonated a volcano to turn the tides in the final battle. Lelouch, Suzaku, and the scientist created a countermeasure to the flare. Finally, Lelouch checked Schneizel with a pre-recorded message. These were all amazing moments of genius. An issue I have is that the story doesn't always properly set up important elements for schemes. Sometimes it's revealed out of nowhere that someone was controlled by lelouch, but there's no setup scene of him interacting with that person. The tech side isn't slacking either. Before, only Schneizel's ship, Gawain, and Lancelot had a float unit, but now several Britannian frames have them. The Knights of the Round all pilot 7th generation frames and have hadron cannons, which is something only Gawain and Schneizel's ship used to have. Their hadron cannons can overpower Gurren's radiant wave. Gurren gets a wing pack and it's one of the sickest scenes in this anime. It also gets a long-range radiant wave, a wave shield, and a Geass net based on Season 1. Lancelot has minor counters to the Geass disturber and isn't fully paralyzed like in Season 1. More Black Knight frames get float systems and radiant wave missiles. Zangetsu also gets a radiant wave shield. I like how Radiant Wave is Rakshada's specialty, so the Black Knights focus on that for upgrades. Meanwhile, Britannia focuses on Hadron Cannons and Blaze Luminous. Gawain upgrades to Shinkiro and gets a shield. Gurren Satan, the first 9th generation frame, comes with new wings and is also able to deflect Hadrons. Finally, Lancelot Albion was the second 9th generation, and it could fire shots from his wings. The wings in the 9th generations were based on the Blaze Luminous, which was the unique shield that Lancelot introduced in his first episode in Season 1. The way both sides kept upgrading and adapting to each other was brilliant. Code Geass is one of the few anime to actually make me care about the mechas and the science behind them. If I were to study Code Geass, I'd probably only study Season 1, because I don't see many writing techniques that Season 2 has to offer that Season 1 doesn't already do better. The themes evolve a little bit, with Suzaku having an arc and all the other characters converging at lelouch's beliefs, but that's about it. There was more character development for the supporting cast, but none of it was high level. I believe that the reason there are so many flat and static characters is because the cast is huge, but there are only 25 episodes per season to tell a story, and since there's a lot of plot to be told, there isn't much time to flesh out the characters. This makes me appreciate battle manga with large casts more. I get on their backs when they don't have enough character arcs or backstories, because Geass doesn't even do that. Most of the development is for lelouch, Suzaku, and C2. There are a lot of dumb moments in the plot, significantly more than in Season 1, and I'd argue that they weigh more than in Season 1. Euphimia's death made sense on a plot level, but it was lazy on a thematic level. The Black Knight's betrayal didn't even make sense on a plot level. The schemes, strategies, and battles were still good. It may seem like this season was mostly negative, but that's because a lot of the positives just carried on from the previous season, while new negatives were generated. When a story gets ambitious, it's bound to have flaws and plot holes, but Season 2 managed to still be extremely entertaining despite its downsides. It still has arguably one of the best endings to any anime.